What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Today we have a special show. We're gonna do 30 minutes of Galaxy talk. Got a big game. There's a game tomorrow. We're gonna cover LAFC game, so I'm gonna do a two-in-one. So the first 30 minutes is gonna be LA Galaxy talk, and then the second half, for those who are watching live, we're gonna transfer over to LAFC talk. But yeah, look, big weekend for all of MLS. Everybody's fighting for playoff position. Galaxy, we know they are. They had tough game at home, which a lot of us didn't expect. Against FC Dallas. Obviously, we now know that obviously they tied. Before we get into that, let me introduce my guests. We got once again Galaxy guy. We also got Alex Ruiz. Galaxy guy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. A little bit chilly. It's been first true rainy day in Los Angeles, but this is welcomed weather, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, it was raining today, which was kind of surprising. It doesn't really rain that often in LA. Alex, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Like Chris mentioned, the weather's just nice today, so just been in my blanket for most of the day playing video games and stuff. So I'm enjoying it pretty well.
Nice, playing some video.
Awesome.
What video games you playing, Alex?
I was playing Battlefield earlier, and then a little bit of FIFA as well. So
Just
There you
playing Call of
go.
Duty with Chicharito.
yeah, I'm playing Warzone with Chicharito and Julian Araujo.
Hey, there you go. That's it. Dude. I still need. What system do you have? Are you an Xbox or
Yeah,
PlayStation type
I'm
guy?
I'm on Xbox.
Xbox. Nice. I was a PlayStation guy. I have like an old PS2 that I don't even use. I don't even know
I had a
somewhere.
PS3 at one point, and then I like converted to Xbox.
Really.
Per
PS2,
se.
Geo, man, you're like 15 years behind, dude.
I haven't upgraded. I did look. I had bought a PS5 when it first came out. I was one of the lucky ones, and then like it was blowing up. Everybody was wanted one, so I just ended up selling it because I needed some money at the time. So I ended up flipping my PlayStation, not knowing like how hard it was. But
Yeah.
then now I'm just like, oh, man, I kind of want one now again. But it's still so hard. It was like a year ago, and it's
Yeah.
still so hard to still even get a PlayStation.
Yeah,
So
both PlayStation and Xbox, both are like super hard to get, and they're like both going for like $800, which is
yeah,
crazy
which
from
is which is
resellers.
yeah,
I'm
which
just
is
gonna
crazy.
wait till they're like $15 on Black Friday, dude.
Ah, let's hope. I highly doubt they have the PS5s on there. That's the one
No.
thing. But I gotta give shout out to Anna Gonzalez. She's always in the chat. How you doing, Anna? I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, nah.
She says she's an Xbox fan. So there you go, Alex. But yeah, look, let's talk about LA Galaxy. We knew they had won two games in a row. There was a big game, a winnable game against FC Dallas, right? But unfortunately, it did not go the LA Galaxy's way the first half. Alex, you and I were obviously there, but it just looked like the FC Dallas was the most physical team. Looked like they were fighting for a playoff positioning, even though they're at the bottom of the table. And I think to me it was very surprising how slow and how more motivated FC Dallas was throughout that first half. What would you think of the first half performance when you saw the LA Galaxy go down 2-0?
Me and Gia were in like the press box watching it, and it was a good view and stuff. And obviously, you could tell Dallas came out with the hunger to start off, and we're just the more imposing team. Really, they were pressing the Galaxy center backs pretty far up, and that ultimately led to their first goal. I forgot who it was, but somebody was pressing Nick DePuy, and then he gives the ball away, and then Jesus Ferreira literally just scores outside of the box, and it's a great goal. And seeing that and the Galaxy's lack of trying to get back into the game and how they weren't really having any offensive success, it was really worrying. And you kind of needed like halftime to come sooner. And then 11 minutes later, Dallas doubled the lead, and now you're like, okay, this could get ugly real quick. And fortunately, the Galaxy were able to salvage 1 point. But the reality is, this could have gone horrible for the Galaxy and really could have led to the momentum completely flipping with three extremely tough games left to play in the season.
Yeah, Galaxy guy. What were your thoughts on Galaxy's performance the first half?
Unsurprisingly, the Galaxy held possession over their opponent once again, right? And they weren't able to do anything with it. We outpassed Dallas 457 accurate passes to Dallas 308. We had far more chances on goal than Dallas did, but Dallas was far more effective with the chances they did have. They had more shots on target than the Galaxy did. And honestly, it felt like much of the same that we've seen before with the Galaxy. This should have been an easy win for the Galaxy. This Dallas team has been eliminated. They're on the road. They literally have nothing to play for. They're near the bottom of the table with the other Texas teams for some weird reason. Something's going on in Texas. But this is a team that we should have been able to beat easily, and yet we didn't. And that point feels like a loss. That draw feels like a loss because honestly, a point really does us very little good.
Yeah, and everything went Galaxy's way. We were just talking about this pre-chat. Like, the Timbers ended up losing. A couple other LAFC ended up tying with Minnesota. So if you guys would have obviously got the win, you would have put up in fourth place. You know, Timbers would have been behind you in fifth place. Unfortunately, that's not the case, which is the big opportunity that LA Galaxy had. And I think to me is just like, not sure why they let FC Dallas be the more physical team, right? When there's essentially is a bunch of kids compared to the Galaxy, right? The more vet experience, but they were like little pit bulls, you know. They were like just watching the game how physical they were, and they were like I feel like they were pushing around Galaxy. We saw what happened with Chicharito and everything like that, but to me they just look hungrier, and I don't know for whatever reason. Obviously, Galaxy was able to pick it up in the second half. But then they fell short. And I'm with you, Galaxy guy. It definitely felt like a loss because you needed these 3 points. You could have got 9. You could have had 9 points in 3 games. Obviously, gets now the next 3 games of this final 6 games gets more difficult. Obviously, going to SKC tomorrow or Wednesday, it doesn't look likely. But moving forward, what are your thoughts on moving forward after this game, Alex?
For me, it's just trying to find some consistency and really, I guess, trying to establish and really get to know like the tendencies of your teammates because the playoffs are literally right around the corner, right? If the Galaxy, I think they'll most likely make the playoffs as a low seed. I'm assuming, and if they're going to be prepared to face some tough competition, and if they really want to compete and really make it down to the last minute, down to the wire, you have to use these 3 games to know how your teammates are going to play, what their tendencies are, especially when you look at the quality of the opponents. SKC, Seattle, and Minnesota, all 3 tough teams to play. And I think that these 3 games are extremely important in the Galaxy determining their tone and the momentum they go into with the playoffs. If I'm correct, the first seed gets a bye, and they're going to have 2 weeks off. So they're kind of their match fitness and sharpness isn't going to be at the same quality as the team that's consistently playing, like the teams fighting from 2 to 7 to face each other in the playoffs. The Galaxy just need to they need to gel well, right, in this last stretch of games and really try to come with at least 4 points because with 4 more points, I think they do make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think obviously we'll look at Galaxy. Let me pull up the table because I think the table is really important to see where the Galaxy are. Obviously, I mean they didn't move. They just pretty much just stayed. They just gained a point. Obviously, so you see obviously Galaxy in 5th place at 46 points. Portland was above them with 46 points as well. Minnesota below them 45 points, Vancouver 44 points, and in 8th place Salt Lake with 42, and 9th place LAFC with 41. But yeah, these last 3 games is going to change a lot of things for those the bottom last 4-5 teams that are trying to fight in. Even the teams outside looking in, it could definitely change. Galaxy guy, when you look at these standings, and obviously how difficult the schedule these last 3 games are. Are you with Alex? Like at least 4 points to guarantee somewhat of a playoff spot?
Yeah. So mathematically, if you look at the averages with every recent season, with the exception of 2020, right? Because 2020 was one of those weird seasons where it wasn't a full season. 48 points is just about minimum for a low playoff spot. 50 points seems to be the magic number that almost guarantees a playoff spot. So the Galaxy really needed those full 3 points from Dallas. The results around the league went our way, right? Just as exactly as we needed it. We needed Portland to lose to Colorado so Portland wouldn't get away with us in points. We needed Minnesota to tie LAFC, which they did, and we needed Real Salt Lake to drop points to Chicago, which they did. So the Galaxy, all they had to do was show up, play their game mentally, physically, beat Dallas, a team that has nothing to play for, and we would have been mostly qualified for the playoffs, at least in that fourth place spot. And, it would have given us a lot more breathing room going into the final stretch because, to be honest, SKC, I don't see the Galaxy getting any points there. Seattle, Galaxy's not getting any points there. It's going to come down to the wire, that decision day game against Minnesota United at home. And Minnesota, as you see there, is sixth place, just below the Galaxy. They have two really tough opponents coming up as well, Vancouver and SKC. Then they have to play us for the final game, which means it's very likely that Minnesota comes to LA needing to win in order to qualify. So you're going to have the Galaxy needing to win to qualify, and you're going to have Minnesota needing to win to qualify. So they're going to come here and lay it all on the line. They're not going to make it easy for the Galaxy. There's going to be a lot of sweating on decision day, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? They could have made it a little bit easier if they would have got the 3 points against FC Dallas, but now obviously you can't look back. You got to move forward from that, unfortunately. But I think, obviously we should also mention obviously Julian Araujo wasn't available because of yellow card accumulation. I know a couple times, Alex, you and I were talking about it, and we're like, man, some of those crosses, they missed some of those crosses inside. Obviously O'Neal Fisher got the start, but it wasn't the same. I think sometimes we saw some things where like, oh, maybe we thought about like, if Joe and Araujo was playing, maybe that cross would have got in or something like that. But we'll see. That's the thing. Moving with these next 3 games, right? You got SKC, you got Sounders. You got to get some points within there, even if it's a tie. I know it's not going to be easy with both of those games being away. Obviously, final game in decision day. But what are your thoughts, Alex, going into facing SKC, because they just beat the Seattle Sounders with I think I tweeted it, but it was like a rock bottom where the goalkeeper slammed. I think it was Christian Roldan, which is
it was Tim Melia slammed down Christian Roldan, and I watched the slow-mo replay, and it's even worse in like real time, and I'm just like, how does that not call it a red? That was really, really embarrassing, if you're a ref and stuff. But SKC is a tough opponent, and it's always hard to play in Children's Mercy Park. I think the weather is probably going to have a factor. I think it'll be warm that day as well, and humid, kind of like the conditions in Houston a bit last week. But overall, Johnny Russell's playing well. I don't think Alan Pulido is going to be playing. I think he's still hurt. So that's, I guess, a positive for the Galaxy defenders. But either way, going on the road playing against one of the top teams in the Western Conference is going to be a really big test. And if the Galaxy can come away with 3 points, it's going to be a huge boost. And honestly, it's going to be surprising because we just saw this team struggle against Dallas. We saw them beat the Timbers, and now they're beating the second best team in the Western Conference. Like, the team, like, if that does happen, there's going to be like a lot of questions of the Galaxy is just a wild card, depending on how they wake up. Do they wake up feeling dangerous, or do they wake up wanting to go back to sleep? It's going to be that kind of reaction from analysts and fans, being, what kind of Galaxy are we going to see today? So I think this game is really important. It's winnable. I think every game in MLS is winnable for sure, but this one right here, you have to win, because going to Seattle, that's going to be really tough. And you know how Seattle crowd gets. It gets loud, it gets rough, and just playing in that Seattle weather at times is just really draining.
Yeah, no, and I think another thing is Seattle's not going to make anything easy for you, even knowing you're fighting for playoff positioning, right? Quickly, shout out to G-Man. He said, everyone looking like Snack Delicious banana nut muffins with extra nuts. Tongue twister there. Shout out to Jose Gonzalez. What's up, guys? Checking in. Definitely feeling nervy time for us. But yeah, I think with the Galaxy and what you see, these next 2 games, I definitely feel I'm with you. I definitely feel like the SKC game is definitely winnable. But there's a lot of different things. Another thing we should know, obviously, Chicharito got a goal against FC Dallas, and Sebastian Lletget was able to get a goal. Chicharito has 14 goals in the season. Galaxy, I don't know if you remember the conversation you and I had. I said 15 goals. He's 1 goal away from getting to that 15, which I thought was pretty bold when I said that. But what now it looks like he's pretty much going to get there. Obviously, the Galaxy definitely need Chicharito to score, but I think also have the others to be able to step up. What are your thoughts on the Galaxy moving forward on being able to take advantage of the opportunities?
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like a broken record at this point. I've been echoing this for a couple seasons now, but the Galaxy really struggles to create plays through the middle of the field. The Galaxy, their strategy, their go-to is to play the flanks through the wing backs and through the fullbacks, right? The left and right. We've seen that mostly come through Julian Araujo now. He seems to be one of our main outlets on that right hand side. Samuel Granci when he comes on. So it's a very predictable game that we've got. Other teams in the league have caught on to this, so we're very easy to shut down, right? So it's been harder for Chicharito to get the ball. We've seen him pull back further into the midfield, looking for that ball himself, something that Chicharito should definitely not be doing because he's a pure target striker. His job is to be up there and waiting for the ball, right? Waiting for that service, which doesn't seem to be coming. So Victor Vasquez is the closest thing we've got. So let's pray and hope Victor Vasquez stays healthy and he's ready and fit to play these last 3 games as much as we can play him. And hopefully he gets into the playoffs and, is ready to perform for us, because I do think he's our best offensive piece going forward. Maybe not at scoring the goals, but he's definitely got that vision going forward to create these plays, these passes, right? So we're going to need him. Chicharito's going to need him.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Another player I would add is also Efrain Alvarez. Obviously, he wasn't as effective in the wing. He had an opportunity right before half to score. Alex, you and I were talking about at the game. What are your thoughts on Efrain Alvarez could potentially do? Because we know Victor Vasquez may not last 60 minutes, but I'm also looking at Efrain Alvarez the same way Galaxy guys looking at Victor Vasquez.
Yeah, Efrain Alvarez definitely. We've talked about it before. Very talented and special. Just the consistency is just never there, and that's really the one thing that's keeping him from breaking out as a player. These past couple of seasons, he's just not consistent, whether it be in his play or the minutes he gets. But we know that if there's no Victor Vasquez, he's going to be the guy to be called upon as that main playmaker. Because if we're being honest, it's just Vasquez and Efrain that can play like number 10s, and that's about it on this roster. Everybody else is striker, winger, midfielder, no real creative players. I mean, Sasha Kleshin used to be, but he's way past his prime to play that position anymore. But like we've talked about before, he's definitely a better player off the bench, and he's impacted so many games this season coming off the bench. And I feel it kind of works in the Galaxy's favor a little bit, because in this last game, we saw Victor Vasquez come off at halftime, right? He didn't really have a particularly good game. And then you have Efrain Alvarez, who could possibly come in at that time and impact the game like we've seen many times this year through the bench, whether it be, creating a foul, creating a goal scoring opportunity, creating, a penalty in the box or whatever. He's going to be important when it comes to this Galaxy's potential playoff run. Vasquez definitely is going to start at that position as, the creative player. And then if it's not working, I think it's perfect that to have Efrain Alvarez, coming in for the rest of the game, because the most Victor Vasquez is going to play is like 70 minutes at most. That's the most you're ever going to get out of him. So I think having Efrain Alvarez kind of come off the bench works in the Galaxy's favor, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also obviously Vegas, who's playing on the wing, he started because I think Samuel Grancer wasn't able to start. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. He's more effective. He's more effective. He's come off the bench. He's had multiple opportunities to make the impact, especially against FC Dallas, to be clinical at times. We've seen him struggle with the consistency. Andy says his group right here is feeling dangerous every day. Salute, fellas.
Andy, what's up?
Yeah, Ed Velasquez asked, "You guys think Galaxy can draw against SKC?" I definitely think so. I think we all agree. I think that's definitely a big game. David said, "I could see Galaxy throwing the Minnesota game to keep LAFC out of the playoffs." I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna want to throw any games, because you want all these points. All the points are gonna.
Nothing is safe yet.
Yeah, nothing is safe yet. So everything matters at this point. So even that Minnesota game is gonna be very crucial, right? But let's talk about what we saw from Victor. I mean, from Samuel Grancer in that second half. What were your thoughts? Because he definitely impacted the game. He definitely came in. He was effective. Obviously, we know they played 3 games in like 7 days, I believe. Galaxy, what were your thoughts on Samuel Grandsir? Obviously, a couple games left, but he's gonna officially have his
Yeah.
first season under his belt.
Yeah. No, so the thing with Samuel is that he's a guy that injects energy into the team, injects energy into the game, right? He's a guy that hustles. And we saw this. He's not a defensive player, but we saw him on that Dallas breakaway. He made that sprint, tracked that attacker, possibly saved us from a third goal, right? That was individual effort. The guy is hustle. Now, Gio, you play soccer, right? You understand this. It's a different perspective that you have as a soccer player. Sometimes you're on a team and everyone's just low energy, kind of like the Galaxy was in that first half, and it kind of kills the game for the entire team. All it takes is one player to come onto that team and hustle. You see that and it just injects you with energy, right? You felt it. I felt it. I've been on soccer teams before where that's been the case. That's Samuel Grandsir. He came into this game, okay, and the team really needed that injection of energy, and we saw it. The Galaxy was a different team in that final, the final half when we had the substitutions. Dijon came on for Cabral. Cabral is a very low energy guy. Dijon is a high energy guy. He was pressing, he was fighting for the balls, he was there, he's trying to be scrappy with players. He injected that energy, so we really, really needed that. Jonah was done by the half. He had a terrible first half. Leggett came in there. He had some energy, so it was very needed. I like
Yeah.
Samuel. I like his hustle.
I like the subs. You're right. I like the Sebastian Lletget for Jonah and Grand Surf for I think it was Victor Vasquez, and then Efrain switched to the middle. But yeah, Alex, what are your thoughts on Samuel Grand Surf? Because him, Lletget, obviously everybody came, definitely impacted the game, and he got that assist with the assist too. Was it Sebastian Lletget for
Yeah,
the
for that
second goal?
Karate Kid goal.
Hmm.
Yeah, but just saying, Samuel Grandsir has played every single game for the Galaxy and has been really crucial to what this team is trying to do when it's down behind, because that's really been the story of the Galaxy this whole year. They've gone behind so many times and needing to get some points and comebacks. Grandsir is a perfect guy to kind of spark that. Chris mentioned, the energy guys when you play, right? Like, I don't want to like boost my ego or anything, but like when I played, I was that guy. Like I would run around.
Hey,
I would run around
hey.
like I had like
Hey,
no
look at you,
brain, like I
Alex.
had a
Teach your
third
own
lung.
Hogan.
Yeah, whether it be me playing in the middle of the park or as a winger, I felt like I was just running the whole time, and I rarely slowed down, and I felt like at times, that does influence the players like a lot. Like I noticed the rest of my teammates kind of just get on the same page and kind of play with that same intensity. So seeing that a player like Samuel Grandsir has an intangible that not many other players have, like Cabral doesn't have that for sure. Way too passive of a guy. Chicharito does have that a little bit, but he kind of slows down. Dejan's the only other guy that really has that. And then the rest of the players don't really have that motor like Samuel Grandsir. So it's a really fortunate thing that the Galaxy have the guy who can create a spark and really
Yeah.
because not a lot of MLS teams really have a guy like that. And let's be honest, a lot of soccer teams in general really don't. And the few guys that do have that ability to kind of spark the rest of their teams, like you see how important they are to this team. And I think Sam Grandsir is like one of the most important players, even though he hasn't done much, on the box score with his goals
Yeah.
and assists. But he does a lot of things like tracking back to, make sure the Galaxy aren't caught on counters or just being a dangerous player because he's really shifty on the wings as well. So he's always a danger wherever he's playing left or right, and defenders respect him like that. So it's really important that Sam Grandsir gets playing time because if the Galaxy are down in the playoffs, they're gonna need him immediately off the bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope he gets a start. I was gonna say, yeah, I think it's very important for the Galaxy, to go back standings, for them to finish in fourth. I think it's very important because if they want to make that deep run like they talked about all year, I don't know how you make a deep run in fifth. It's still possible, but look, you want to get at least a home game, right? So even if you're playing the Timbers, right, you play the game at home. You don't have to travel. You're at home. You're comfortable. You have a good shot. I think in fifth, anything below fourth, it gets very tricky. Obviously, third place looks like a long way out. I don't really see that for the Galaxy, but I do see fourth, and I think they should try to do everything because they don't play once the playoffs start. The playoffs start like the second or third week of I think the second week of November, right? Second was it
It's
November
after the
17th?
international break, because
Yeah,
there's
like
an international break right when the season ends, and that's when USA and Mexico are going to play, and then that's when the playoffs start. And that's what I was mentioning earlier. Like some of the teams that like clinched the bye, they're going to have a disadvantage because they're going to have like 3 weeks off before they start the MLS playoffs, and usually that doesn't do well for a team and trying to get ambitions of winning a title.
November 19th. Okay, yeah. Andy just said November 19th, so that wasn't too far off. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to go all out these last two games, right? You're going to last game's November 7th. Say everybody plays until November 7th, right? Assuming let's assume it's Jonah Rajo, Leggett and Jonah Dos Santos that are going on international duty. And Neil Fisher, Nico, and Ryan. Tell me another name that I'm missing. So
I think
there's
that's
a
about it.
couple. That's a couple, right? But you wanna give it all. You want to give it all these last few because you're not going to come back to November. Potentially November 19th. It could change. It could vary because I know there's a couple dates and stuff like that. But I feel like you want to give your all. I think it's very important for the Galaxy to get that fourth place. By all means possible,
Yeah.
because then you have a good shot to go all deeper, right? We know who's at the top, and it doesn't, and then it's not going to get any easier if you're in fifth place, fourth place. You got a shot there. Um, let's answer some questions. I know a few people have some questions. If you got some questions, definitely drop them on the chat. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it. But yeah, no, like as you were saying, Alex, you're the energy guy. Galaxy guy is definitely an energy guy. We're gonna have to see who's gonna be the energy guy for Galaxy these upcoming games because they're gonna need it from everybody. It's not just gonna be Samuel Grandsir. It's gonna be from obviously we know what Dayhan can produce, but I think for me, I'm still waiting for Efrain to step it up a notch. I'm still waiting for
Yeah.
Cabral to step it up a notch. And I also kind of wonder when that potentially will happen. And obviously, we know what we can expect from Araujo. The defense. Let's talk about the defense. The defense has not been playing that bad, even though obviously they gave up 2 goals this
Yeah.
game. What are your thoughts on the defense these first 3 games back since the break? Galaxy guy.
Alex. Oh, you asked me. Okay. So I honestly, we talked about this on the show a couple weeks back. The pairing of Nick Dupuy and Derek Williams seems to be a fruitful one.
Mhm.
They seem to work well together, right? It's they complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? Where Nick is more of a athletic guy, even for his size. He's very speedy, athletic. He's good with headers. He's good with clearances. Derek is the smart veteran, has a European experience. He's a little more level-headed, calm. They work well with each other, right? He's not as speedy. He's not as fast, physical guy. Um, I thought we had a good thing going with our wingbacks too. Jorge Villafaña has had a pretty decent season so far. Not too hot with Nico. Not too hot with Nico. And it surprises me that he's on a $600,000 salary this year. It
Yeah.
blows my mind because this guy's supposed to come on as Jorge's backup, right? And I think he's actually making more than Jorge. Kind of blows my mind a little bit. I don't know who's signing all these contracts for the Galaxy.
I think
but
it's
we'll have
just
to-
because Nico is just like a 6-month loan, so they kind of have to like match his contract from Europe.
Possibly,
Okay,
yeah.
makes sense. Makes
It
sense.
Yeah.
makes sense, but for a backup guy, that's still a lot of money. I wasn't too hot on O'Neal Fisher. I think he's a very pacey, speedy guy. I don't think there's a single person out there in Galaxy Land that believes he should be starting over Julian Araujo, right? We know fully well what we're getting from Julian on the defensive end and the offensive end. He's a hustler. We need him. I don't think O'Neal Fisher played a good game at all. It might just be rustiness because he's not a starter, hasn't really been starting, played a couple games for Jamaica, but doesn't really have that match fitness, right?
I would also think I would just add it's like we know we're so accustomed of what we've gotten from Julian Araujo, so when we
Yeah.
don't see a cross from almost half field or we don't see some of the crosses that we've been used to, it kind of throws it off because Alex and I were talking about it like, oh, he should have crossed it, but we're like, we're like if Julian Araujo was playing, he might have crossed it.
Yeah, he
That's some of
doesn't.
the
Julian doesn't think about it twice. He just does it. Very decisive. And just watching O'Neal on Saturday, I was like, he seems to be thinking a little too much at times, and I felt like he didn't want to play too ahead because I think he was scared of getting caught out by the Dallas wingers, and then also as well, he's a smaller guy. He's not going to win aerial duels, so that's kind of like a thing that's not too good about O'Neal, which isn't his fault because you can't really control that. But Julian is just a complete, defender, wing back, whatever you want to be. He's just a complete player. And, getting to see somebody else play in that position, you see how impactful he is. And that's why I think he's like the best player on this Galaxy team. Like overall, better than the whole squad. He's the top player on this team.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no question about that. G-Man has a question. He said, real question, is legit good luck or technique? I think he's referring to his goal. I would say, I mean, that was a hustle goal. I mean, he was right there at the right time. If you look at the goal, Chicharito, I wish I would have pulled it up, but Chicharito makes a run, and Leggett cuts through and sees the open space. So I looked at that. I looked at that goal, and I feel like that was all effort. That's my opinion. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think it might have been a little bit of both. When you're outstretched that far, like Leggett did, and it's kind of like a half volley with the outside of the foot. It's a lot of skill required to do that, but at the same time, there's a little bit of luck, right? Mm-hmm. Mostly skill, but yeah, it was a very nice goal. Not a lot of players can do that. Not a lot of people can do that. So it was a good goal.
All right, let's finish up here because we got a couple of minutes, guys. It was only gonna be a 30-minute episode.
Sure.
But yeah, look, the momentum is there. Obviously, it's unfortunate for them to drop points at home. Let's talk about these next 3 games or these next 2 games because by the time next Monday, well, we'll see. I don't know if we'll have a show on Monday because the Galaxy play next Monday, which is interesting.
Seattle.
And then Seattle. I've never realized I didn't realize until now it was a Monday because I'm so used to Wednesday, weekend game and stuff like that. These next 2 games, because we probably won't be on the pod, or I might have to do the podcast earlier. I think that's what we'll do. We'll do the podcast earlier. How do you feel these next 2 games against SKC and the Sounders, Alex?
Obviously a little bit of worry, but at the same time, I'm confident this team's going to play up to the level of the competition. They've proven to do that time and time again, even when they haven't been good. At times, they still make it competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised to see at least 4 points here. I think they might get a win against SKC and then maybe a draw in Seattle. That'll definitely be a tough game and a must-watch, really, because both teams are going to be fighting, and Seattle are going to get back Rui Diaz and Jordan Morris when they play the Galaxy. So I'm going to be paying attention because I love those 2 players. Morris for the national team, and then Rui Diaz I think is just is the best player in MLS right now. But it's going to be interesting to see how this week plays out. We've talked about how important decision day might be depending on the results of the Galaxy and Minnesota. So I think that this is going to play out in the Galaxy's favor, and I think they're probably going to get a good result, and it's going to be up to Portland how they play, if they will lose or if they'll win, because the Galaxy right now are more in a race to get a home playoff spot than they are to stay in the playoffs, because right now it's not too stable, but at least they're not on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I'll close us out here, Galaxy guy, and then we'll have to do the second half of the show.
You're asking me as a fan and as a logical person. As a logical person, I see a Sporting Kansas City team on Wednesday that has a plus 20 goal differential, sitting second in the table, Western Conference. That's going to be a tough game. I don't think the Galaxy gets any points. Then Monday against Seattle, we're talking about a team with a 23-plus goal differential. The Galaxy's defense can probably not withstand an attack from Raul Ruiz Diaz. Seattle's a good team, but you're asking the Galaxy guy, the fan. I'm going to say this. We're going to smash Sporting Kansas City. And just like Alex said, this team can play up to tough opponents like we did with Portland, a team that was coming off super hot, 8 games, unbeaten. They were coming hot, and we smashed them. We're going to smash the Seattle Sounders as well, CenturyLink, whatever it's called now. Sorry, we're going to the Emerald City, and we're getting 3 points. The Galaxy's going to finish this 4th place, and we're going to get that home playoff spot.
Well, there you have it. That's gonna wrap up this part of the segment. If you guys want to tune in, stay on. We're gonna talk LAFC. I know some of you guys may not want to stay on. Don't blame you. But look, I want to thank Galaxy guy. I want to thank Alex. Give us a second, and I'm gonna switch things up here. All right, guys. So we're here. We switch things up. We got these guys back. We got Back in Black, who's here with us from Voices of Black and Gold. We got LAFC Edge, who's with us. Fellas, how you doing? Back in Black, how you doing?
Doing great. I'm actually surprised you have me back on your show after the last time. The way things ended here during the
What?
the
What do you
Rapper League.
mean? I don't. Why would I not invite you back?
I know I cost you a couple of sponsors there with my drinking habits, but
Look,
I have to
we
say I haven't
do.
touched the drink since. I'm just kidding.
Look. We don't. I don't. I definitely don't hold any grudges. I didn't have a grudge. Let me correct myself. I didn't have a grudge. So it was always a pleasure to have you on, brother. So don't ever feel like you can't be invited.
Absolutely. No, I'm just joking. I'm excited to be here and talking LFC with you.
Yeah. LAFC Edge, how you doing?
Hey, Gio. Good to be back on the show. Doing good, man.
Yeah. Is that hold on before we even get started? Is that a Bears? Is that a Bears
Oh
hat?
yeah, it's my Bears hat,
Oh
man.
God, explain it. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a huge Justin Fields fan. I saw that guy play at Ohio State, so I figured I'd represent the Bears since they put up quite an embarrassment yesterday against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But still,
That's what we hear. He said,
still fan.
Alex, who was just on, he said he must have been crying on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no. it got in. Nagy out. Let's put it that way. Which is a good segue for LAFC and everything that we've been going through.
Yeah. Well, look, let's talk about it because big game this past weekend, big game tomorrow, right? This MLS schedule is just all over the place. Games on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I don't know. Can we just get it right? Can we be consistent for once, MLS? Like, let's have our set days. Let's have our set days. Hopefully next season, now that the CBA and everything was determined this year, let's have our set days next year. I think that'd be helpful for everybody. That's why we're not all over the place having games on different types of days. Let's talk about this Minnesota United game. Obviously, it's not the result any team wanted. Not the result. Obviously, you guys wanted 1-1. Edge, what were your thoughts on the first half for LAFC?
I think all the fans felt that we got a little lucky, to be honest. That half felt like Minnesota was pretty dominant, and a few plays went our way where the didn't land in the goal. And but I think overall Bob Bradley went in with a defensive mentality, which is very rare to see. He usually comes in firing on all cylinders, attacking. But I think the strategy that he went in, being a little more conservative on attack, was actually a good tactic considering the types of injuries we have with players and how we lack a strong midfield. So, I understand that we didn't win and it hurts and it sucks, but I think with Minnesota being at home and the type of roster we have at the moment, it honestly wasn't the worst result we could get.
No, and look, for like to your point, I felt like Minnesota was like the better half and the better team in the first half. I felt like at times LAFC was lucky they didn't concede. Back in Black, what were your thoughts in the first half?
Yeah, it was a show of Reynoso versus our guys trying to catch up to him. I thought Cheeky Palacios and Raheem Edwards were just like completely lost, could not do anything against him. He exploited it really, really well. Several crosses coming from that side that resulted in danger against our net. It was very lucky that we didn't get scored. They also had a pretty nice open shot from the middle of the box from right outside of the box in the 25th minute. It was also Reynoso, very dangerous. So again, we got the first goal and it was a blessing for us because it seemed that the inevitable was coming, which was the first goal from Minnesota. So that goal truly changed the course of the game, and all of a sudden I thought, hey, wait a minute, we have a chance.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Once the goal, once Chicho's goal, right? Like Chicho, by the way, obviously everybody knows this. He's been balling. He's been doing exceptional things. He got a goal off a set piece. Maybe he has to thank Tyler Miller for that, because he just gave him a gift, right? But Chicho obviously is on the road. We knew what we're gonna get from him. I'm not surprised he scored. I'm surprised he scored off a set piece because I haven't seen that from him. But he's on the road. He's continued to carry this team moving forward. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow and the next two games. But I think tomorrow is the biggest game because obviously you can't draw, you can't lose. You got to find some way, even though it looks like a Hail Mary, to use an NFL reference, tomorrow against the Sounders, you have to find a way to win. It's not impossible, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Let's talk about that because obviously the way LAFC was able to stay within this game, because I felt like Minnesota United was the better team, the way they played. Once you guys went up, but then Reynoso kept doing his thing. He had the set piece. Let's talk about the set piece and Blackman, Jamal Blackman. How do you feel about Jamal Blackman giving up? I guess we could put it on him giving up that goal because he should have done a better job, I feel like, on that goal.
I have a hard time with how much he actually hits the ball rather than catches it. It reminds me of this Mexican goalkeeper, Conejo, who's like just retired, I think, last year at 40 years old or something. He always hit the ball, and it became, while he did like fantastic saves, the rebound was very scary, and that's exactly what I think we're experiencing with Blackman. I'm noticing he hits these balls rather than catches them, and the ball ends up loose in the 18, and it becomes really scary. And this was the first actual result where we saw it biting us in the ass. And, I think it does concern me. There's people that are concerned that Blackman may be too slow, things like that, but he's actually made some pretty decent blocks. He actually made some pretty decent ones in Minnesota, but I think the thing that concerns me are those rebounds because he's constantly doing them. And a team that's more clinical like Seattle or SKC will put those away. We got lucky with Minnesota not really having great strikers. And if we're dealing with a Rui Diaz or Shallowy up front, we're done, So that's what concerns me about Blackman. And, I really don't hope that he's not our starting goalie from here on out, but I have a feeling that it's a little too late and Bob Bradley's going to be sticking with him. I personally would now switch back to Romero. I don't think it's too late, and I think 3 games before playoff isn't bad, but I'm still not very happy with Blackman overall.
Back in Black, what are your thoughts?
We're not going to make the playoffs, so I think at this point,
that's true.
We're just going to do 3 games to see if it's worth being part of our academy. An academy consists of more than one goalkeeper. In the Los Angeles Galaxy, they do it really well with a young guy in Klinsmann and an experienced European in Bond. So you can make it work with 2 very good goalkeepers, and both of them would most certainly get their chance and make the most out of it. At this point, I think we made the change. I would not have brought in when he was brought in, but since we did, I think we should give him 3 more games to see what he does. His saving percentage is better than the other 2 goalkeepers that started for us. Having said that, that's because he's been more under duress. The defense has deteriorated over time. The last 3 games against San Jose and against Minnesota, we'll keep the Dallas game aside, but those 2, he had 7 shots against him. He had 6 saves in each of them. So again, he's doing things right, but I will fault him for the goal, just like I said on Twitter. That was the only thing he did wrong, but it cost us another 2 points on the road that, again, if we put that second goal away and it's 2-0, I feel like there's very little they can do, and we get out of Minnesota with 3 points. It's a different conversation. So again, we have to see 3 more games and see if he can put a complete game together where the saves are there and we don't say, oh, he messed up in this one play, right?
Let's play the replay.
It happened in San Jose as well, right?
Yeah, I got the replay.
Gotta be on toes for the second chance.
Reynoso, good save by Blackman. Alonso!
I'll play it
Got to
again.
be on their toes for the second chance.
Reynoso gets saved by Blackman. Alonso!
The thing to me that's, I guess, is very odd is why didn't he punch it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get he was
Yeah.
trying to.
It feels like his height. I said that in our pod earlier. I feel like
But-
his height got in his way because
No,
he's so
come
tall
on.
that he couldn't fully deflect it this
Yeah,
way.
but like,
right?
I don't
That
think you
ball
should be.
came in
You
and
should
just
not
went.
be. Look, I'm not. We're not pro athletes, so we don't. This goes without saying, right? But from what we've seen, you're not going to catch a ball that's directed with that much spin, right? Or punch it away, or push it away. I don't understand why he didn't punch it. Because if you
Right.
punch that ball is going
It's
out.
straight out.
It's not, even if he punches it straight, it's going past the 18. It's right. Or if he goes to the side, I think if he would have punched it, Minnesota United would not
a
have
lapse in judgment, which I can only justify by lack of playing time, right? The guy was unsigned, and this is where I think that if we train him and give him a full season, the stats are there that he be consistent. You know, his saving percentages are really good. You know, can he be trained to not make these mistakes? It was clearly a mistake.
Look, those numbers may be true, but they're not comparable to almost a full season of what Romero.
The career numbers. No. I'm talking about his career,
career
right?
numbers.
Like his saving percentage.
Well, let's go off of
really
what
good.
we've seen so far, because I look, the career numbers may be one thing, but what I've seen so far, to me, look, this is me being straightforward from what I've seen from Blackman. And I expected this because he was put in a tough situation. And I'm with you when you said, Celso, like that, making the decision to have this goalkeeper come in, right? I knew you were going to throw him in there, but I just felt like no matter what, he was set up essentially to not succeed right away because there was so much pressure. But outside of that, the talent-wise that I've seen from him, or this type of saves, it does not tell me that this is the number one guy, and LAFC are still looking for a goalkeeper, right? Regardless of the stats or whatever, LAFC are still going to look for a goalkeeper after the season. Because go ahead, Edge, because it's not convincing.
I mean, I'm like many are very upset with LAFC in that, you know, the front office has never really gotten us a prime goalie, a good goalie, an elite goalie. They've always been like worth under like $150,000, $400,000 at most, and it's like they spend all their money on these stars, but like, and then just put like a USL level goalie, and we're always screwed because of that. So if it were up to me, I want Blackman out end of season. I'm glad we tried it for, you know, half a season as an experiment. And I was very open-minded to him, and he isn't bad, but I don't think he's what LAFC needs going into 2022. I think the front office, for what they gave us this season, which was an utter crap depth roster, we deserve an elite goalie this upcoming season. Keep Romero, who's only 20 years old, as development and as our second goalie, and try to play him, you know, in some games next season. But we need a new goalie.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Blackman's going to be the guy. Yeah,
I think he's got 3 games to prove to us that he's the guy. You know, and right now,
look, that's fair enough. That's a very fair point.
Fair enough.
That's fair. You got to give him the rest of the 3 games. I don't think you switch.
Yep.
I don't think you switch back to
switching
Romero.
back is only going to make it worse at this point.
Yeah.
And as I said, the bad decision was bringing him in at the time that he was brought in, when probably we could have gotten a European center back, even someone that just filled it up. Like, it would have been more helpful when like half of this roster is either internationally traveling or injured. You know,
and that's the point that I said. I didn't feel like even Romero, right? Romero was not like we're not gonna sit here and say Romero was the most elite goalkeeper, right? But he was not that bad. He was pretty solid. And that was to your point. So I felt like they were missing defenders. The issue wasn't with LAFC wasn't the goalkeeper necessarily. It was more the defenders, but obviously they thought otherwise. And unfortunately, it's not looking out. Look, we'll have to give them these last 3 games tomorrow against Seattle. But there's not been a game that I'm like, okay, I could see Blackman being an elite goalkeeper, even though he's big, right? He's what, 6'6" or whatever.
He's a very tall man. Yeah.
Very tall.
Statistically, Romero struggled the most for us, right? You know, he was at the bottom of the league. You can look it up, right? Cisnega wasn't much better. So you had 2 guys that were really performing below the entire team. And you can not trust the stats because I know that a lot goes into making that stat, but those are red flags, and you know, as a front office, as a team, you're going to try to solve it. But I think we needed to address the issues from the defensive midfield up, you know, because at the lack of pressure, to allow Reynoso to make crosses in our into our box like he did, you know, it's just like you said, Edge, those guys are bad. They're really bad. Their X goals at home is extremely low. They win games by not allowing the teams to score on them, and you saw it. They're pretty dominant, but they keep the score very, very low. I knew this was going to be a low-scoring affair, and here it was. We had a chance to go 2-0. It was a thin margin. And by the way, Tyler Miller, we're totally in his head. It's amazing.
Tyler Miller, not surprised he gave up a goal like that. Tomorrow, let's talk about tomorrow. There's against the Sounders. No Cifuentes because yellow card accumulation. We know Nortuesta. Carlos Vela, apparently he's going to come and play in the second half. I don't know how many minutes he's going to give you. Going to give LAFC, but I mean that's good news, I guess. Yeah. So it's a big game tomorrow at home. We'll see how many minutes. I can't see more than 15 minutes, maybe 20. It's been a long time since Carlos Vela has played, so I don't see more than that. So it's going to be interesting. Good news, he's back. Bad news is he's probably not going to be able to impact the game as you would like to, right? You would like to have him available for 90 minutes, right? Depending what happens tomorrow, right? I think if LAFC lose, then that's pretty much it, right? Obviously, I think statistically or whatever, there's another things to happen, but obviously a loss pretty much puts the nail in the coffin. Other teams, obviously, if other teams win, and other different things, right, with the final 2 remaining games after tomorrow. What are your thoughts on hearing Carlos Vela being available tomorrow on Celso?
We can use him because the roster is so depleted. Just put everything aside and say, hey, you're a quick player to play, and we have a very depleted roster, and we're going to need to score some goals. I think it motivates the roster if he's there as well. I think it's sad when he's injured that he doesn't come to the games. I like to see him there. He hasn't done that. So, and I hope that he can give us 30 minutes of hard-earned football. You know, he's delayed his return long enough to justify coming back and making an impact. And we're going to need him. We need a win. The max we can get to is 49 points, I believe. I don't believe we can capture 9. The max we can afford to lose at this point is 2 points, which means that a loss will immediately eliminate us.
Yeah. Edge, what are your thoughts on Vela being back tomorrow?
I'm excited, but at the end, it just depends his mentality. I don't know why he's coming back, if he's happy now or if he got his contract extension the way he wanted or his salary. I don't know what it is, but, apparently he's ready tomorrow. So I want to know what his mentality is going to be, and I think we'll be able to see a lot of that come, towards the end of the game on Seattle when he plays. But, it's going to be a difficult game for us, obviously, since our midfield is going to be lacking Cifuentes. We're going to be dealing with 2 USL players for our midfield, Crisostomo and Duke. And then we have Blessing. So none of them are really great holding midfielders. The closest is Crisostomo. But, once again, that's USL level. And going against, Seattle's midfield, which is utterly nuts. I'm very worried. I'm more worried about that than Vela playing or not playing, to be honest. But I'm hoping that Vela comes in and probably does something cool to help us out. I'm a little concerned about his pace and his age already. More his mentality towards that, because it feels like since he didn't want to play, you saw a lot of his age. So I think he could play like a player like Vasquez and on Galaxy, who's not as, who plays more as a 10 and playmaker. And he's a difference maker in that regard. I've been looking at Galaxy games and I see how amazing actually Vasquez is. And I didn't even know who he was before he came back, because I don't go that far back with the MLS, but I knew that he had MLS experience with Toronto, I believe. And I knew that he was a great playmaker, but I really saw the difference that he's bringing to LA Galaxy, and I think we've always kind of lacked a number 10 like Vasquez. And I think if anything, Vela I would prefer if we're lacking in midfield, if Vela could come in like kind of a playmaker as a 10, since he doesn't have the pace as a winger right now. Maybe he could work up to that. He's an amazing winger, and I'm always wanting him to be there. But if he doesn't have the pace and he doesn't have the mentality, then if he could do some good visionary passes, that could save our asses and probably we get some goals. But that's what I'm hoping for.
I mean that's very very feasible for Carlos Vela. I mean he has a tremendous left foot and definitely could put the ball where it needs to be. Yeah, I'm very interested to see because everything will tell, right? And another thing we should add, right? Thursday, LAFC announced that they were doing this Instagram live interview with Carlos Vela. Came out of nowhere. I want to get you guys' thoughts on
that. My membership emails, it's very timely.
Oh, so even you as a member, you got it in your email, right?
No, I'm just saying that it's just time to renew my seats and
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So it's time
to remind me that he's part of the club.
Gotcha. So yeah, like obviously, if you forgot, Carlos Vela does play for LAFC, even though he has been.
Yeah, but look, I really think he was injured. I think we have good trainers in this team that in his contract that would prevent him from just being like a soft and. I really believe that if he's not injured, he has an obligation to play. And if he's not 100%, he might risk getting injured again. And I bet the team held him back. So if we have to be upset at anyone, I would say the team held him back from.
Well, I think that's what everybody would like to hear. Now, is he going to be asked that? That may be another thing, right? On Thursday.
The question is, are you staying after 3 games? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, I think that's the main question, right? But what else do you want to know about Carlos Vela? Because they're promoting it like, he's going to be answering all these questions on Instagram Live. Look, to me, like if Carlos Vela is asking questions or answering questions, he ain't saying goodbye on Instagram Live. I'm gonna just be honest with you. He ain't gonna say goodbye on Instagram Live.
Take his talents to Miami.
Yeah, he ain't doing that. I'm sorry.
That would be mean.
I'm sorry to break it to everybody, but he's not gonna do that. He's not gonna say, "Hey, it was amazing." LAFC. It's time for me to bounce. That's not gonna happen. It's either like he's staying on after these 3 games, or talk about the season and stuff like that, addressing the fans. But the thing to me that is kind of odd, I guess, is the last week. The updated salaries were released, right? Again, or updated. I think ESPN published something like that, and then I saw a lot of flack from LAFC fans, right, that were going after Vela. That they were pretty much just saying that, like, I forgot. I saw a couple people tweeted a couple of things, but just how Vela was able to finesse LAFC for all this money for only playing like 30% of the games or whatever like that. But I kind of feel like that has to do something with Carlos Vela addressing with that, because there was a lot of negative press towards Carlos Vela from the fans. And I think that may have to lead to that's what potentially led to this. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that it might have been that. Edge, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I feel like, everywhere in the comments section, there's fans commenting, "Where's Vela? What's happened to Vela? Where is he?" And I think the front office has, obviously caught on that the fans are just kind of over Vela or really mad at Vela, and there needs to be some form of communication between him and the fans at the moment. And if he's not doing it by himself through his social media feed, then maybe the front office is like kind of requiring it now, And obviously everybody hopes if we find out if he stays or leaves in this interview on Thursday, and that's all we could really hope for. I have a feeling it's going to be a bunch of softball questions. It's not going to be a Q&A between the audience. It's going to be a Q&A between Max and him with a bunch of softball questions. And, I really don't know how much we're going to get, what information we're going to get, but I feel like it's catered to him and to make sure that he's comfortable and he says what he wants to say the way he wants to say it. And I don't know how satisfied we're going to be with it.
Yeah, I don't think Katie says I agree. The fans are super upset. It's to make noise. Look, one thing about LAFC, if I can just be honest with you guys, they like to cater things their way, right? But everybody can see through the bullshit. To be honest, like, come on now, like, look, you don't have to be like. It just has to. This is sports, man. This is sports. Like, fans are paying a lot of money. I get why you have to do this, but keep it 100. Like, if you're gonna do it with Vela, keep it 100. You can't BS. This is LAFC shot to keep it 100. Because I've been seeing the BS from LAFC for a long time now, and I find it kind of refreshing to see. Right, you guys have never met each other. A lot of people that interact have never met each other, but I've never met them. But I've met. But to me, it's more refreshing to see that not everybody thinks the same, right? Not every fan is going to think the same. Not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody, is a fan of how we think of the conversations we have. But I think to me, it's so refreshing that other people can see the BS of what LAFC's been putting out. And to me, this is a great opportunity for LAFC to keep it 100 with Vela. And it's a great opportunity for Vela to keep it 100. Because if not, you're going to keep spewing out the same BS LAFC's been putting out. I understand there's people that work for the team. I understand you got to cater to the machine of what LAFC is. I get that. Look, but do you also got to realize as an organization that everybody can see through the BS, and this is your shot to make amends with the fans, because everybody's pissed off at Vela, rightfully so. But Vela and Vela hasn't talked. Vela has not talked. And he has to own up to it. Look, you're the highest paid player, and you're the best player on this league. There's no question about that. But you've been ducking, you've been hiding, you've been chilling, you've been out in Malibu, you've been doing all these different things. You have your Instagram that you could do on yourself. Now, okay, if you're gonna have someone cater it for you and everything like that, make sure the questions are asked that everybody wants to know.
But again, Gio, is it because he doesn't have a contract offer from the club and he's just holding out and saying the things like, oh yeah, sure, if there's an European offer, I'll entertain it. I love to play.
I know, but that's not what I'm referring to.
That just means the club didn't give him an offer, right? So maybe
we don't know that. We don't know what the
club's doing.
Yeah, we don't.
I think that this front office is still relatively new, and we're dealing with a general manager like John Thorrington, that if I'm correct, doesn't really have.
Which is the leader of soccer in LA. Like, you saw what he did with the EPL this weekend, man. Like, that guy has a lot of power. Like,
what I'm saying though is that, like,
and what he can do for soccer.
No, I'm not. There's no question about that. It's more about my thing is being transparent. That's the biggest thing.
I think
what I'm referring to. It's not about.
They don't have an obligation to be transparent, because hopefully with
the fans. And look, if Ronaldo or look, I'm not putting Vela at the same level. Chicharito, right? Chicharito, perfect example. Chicharito got a lot of flack last year, because he didn't address the fans on social media and stuff like that. Same thing. I'm seeing the same story with.
I was going to say, what about Chicharito?
I'm seeing the same story with Vela this year. What I saw with Chicharito last year, same story. But the difference, right, is this year is Chicharito is posting about the team and stuff like that. Even when LAFC was struggling, Vela never posted like, hey, he didn't post like Brian Rodriguez was posting. He didn't post what Jose Cifuentes was posting on Instagram. That's what pisses people off. And that's what I'm saying. This is Carlos Vela's chance to do that. Like, what were you doing? What was going on? This I'm saying. This is the chance. I'm not talking about the contracts and all these different things. This is LAFC's chance to be transparent. This is Carlos Vela's chance to be transparent. If not, then keep spewing out the same. Just keep spewing out the same BS. People ain't buying it. That's what I'm saying. People ain't buying that. That's what
I get that, but like, if let's just hypothesize here. If Vela's upset because he's not getting his contract extension,
that's fair though. That's fair.
No, I get that, but how could the front office be transparent about that? They can't tell the fans that.
No. I'm not saying that.
So how do you know? What I'm asking those.
No, this is what I'm saying.
But how could they be transparent?
This is what I'm saying. Let me be clear. To be transparent in this interview. Now, I'm not saying tell us that.
That's
tell
what
us
transparency is. That's
tell us. No. Tell us. I'm not. No. Let me finish. Let me finish. People. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is a chance to ask that question and to wanna know then and there.
I mean, if he doesn't, it makes no sense. At 35
That
days of a contract in 3 games, and if he's gonna go talk about Christmas plans and what he's gonna do in Cancun with his wife, like I will literally turn off and like, no,
that's what, dude.
come on.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're missing
It
the point.
has to be big news.
This is what I'm saying, and dude, I just feel like he's staying. I don't know. There's no way.
I think he's staying too, because you
There's
don't
no
put
way
that stuff
he's-
there and you make it sound. If he's not staying, you put it on a Friday. On the nobody's watching on your Twitter. You're like, oh, and that man, he's not staying, blah blah blah, and you go hang out with your family. By Monday, you already forgot about it. You know what I mean?
Look,
You don't make a big show on a Thursday after the biggest game of our season, which potentially can make or break our season, right? You announce some good freaking news. That's what I'm hoping it is, and it's going to be good news for some of us, right? Vela's staying for another year, yay!
Yeah. It just the message has to be straight up.
I know we're out of time, but it's a mistake too. I would have signed a Twista for a DP contract and tell Vela bye-bye. Good. It's been good for his service. That's the right move. Build from
Yeah,
within.
but
Guys that
Vela
want
Twista hasn't missed the games, and we that's a
he
whole
has
different
missed
story.
games as well. He's missed a lot of games, and when he doesn't play, we're screwed. Our midfield is like, doesn't know what to do. We have Arango. Like, by the way, tomorrow's gonna be exciting. We get to see B-Rod, Vela, and Arango play together. I'll be there for that.
No, I think it's gonna be exciting. I just don't think
nobody to pass the ball to them, but hey, it's just gonna
I think we're gonna say it for like 10-15 minutes. But look, to close this out, from what I know from LAFC, right? Obviously, I've been there. I've been a little closer to what you guys have seen. Obviously, I'm bringing you guys into these type of conversations. I love having these type of conversations with people that are either close to the team or whatever. Like, to me, it doesn't bother. And I see what you guys do on social media, but to me, I really think this is a big opportunity for Vela, and I think it's a big opportunity for LAFC to be straight up about it and just, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. Obviously, we didn't have the type of the type of season, but look, I'm coming back, or or whatever. But if it's about what you said, the beaches, and that's what I'm saying when it's not being transparent. That's what I mean to when it's not being, hey, let's talk about the issue. Let's talk about what's actually going on here. That's what I mean by transparency, and not about the I'm not telling you. I'm not saying, hey, tell me your contract. Tell me how much money you're gonna get. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to, look, let's be transparent about this. We all know why we're here, right? Let's talk about it. That's what we're here for. Let's not talk about the vacation. Let's not talk about this. Let's sit here. Vela, what are you going to do? Are you coming or not? You're not? Cool, right? But I don't think he's up for the task to do this on a live, to say, like, it's been great, guys. I'm still undecided. If he I hope he doesn't pull off the undecided card, because that would be bad.
Well,
I don't believe that.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's been fun.
I don't think I've ever seen that, an interview where, like,
Yeah, it's a clear decision that, to me, that he's coming back.
Could be an
or,
MLS retirement. I don't know if
it could be that.
Like,
Oh
I'm
god,
MLS.
this is the wrong time to retire, and it would be the timing's just off. I think what I see, the outcome is Vela's coming back, and is going to do it through Instagram Live. It's a big announcement. I'm sorry if I ruined it. I hope I didn't, but I'm pretty sure that's I have no inside information.
I think
that's just my senses. There's no way he would say he's leaving on an IG Live. That'd be kind of petty. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be kind of weird.
Well, or you can do it like Pepe did, send an SMS to your PR agent, and then all of a sudden he shows up in the injury report against LAFC, and he doesn't say goodbye. Which one do you prefer?
Yeah. No, let's
one's worse? Tell me, man. That's Pepe. Oh my God, their social media team was all over that guy, and he left back door. Didn't even say goodbye. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean, Pepe? He was there Saturday. He was there Saturday.
I think that's pretty cool.
I'm sorry. What do you mean by Pepe? Hold on. Let me read Katie's comment, and then we'll go.
Yeah, go ahead. I was talking about Pepe and how he left. Basically said, "I'm not playing for Dallas anymore." And
he did. He played Saturday.
Oh, okay.
He played against Galaxy. That's why I'm confused.
Okay.
Katie says he's not. Yeah, he hasn't left. Katie says he's not all of a sudden doing press if he's not staying, referring to Carlos Vela. This is to make fans feel better. Yeah.
Yeah, I
think
agree
so.
because if he wasn't going to renew, they would have saved it till the end of the season. Why let us know that, on the run to the playoffs? I don't think they would give us bad news then, especially if we lose to Seattle. It's just going to be a catastrophe.
Yeah. No, it's hey, he's coming back and this is a plan. The thing to me is I don't know, like he's definitely getting paid a lot of money, right? It is. I think that the thing to me that really surprised me about Vela was he didn't address it. Like you don't gotta hop on a press call, but like he could have done this sooner. Just like an Instagram post, like, "Hey fans, I know it's not the type of season, but I'm here. Like I'm here fighting with you guys." Or Celso, to your point, dude could have been showing up at the games. I could have been out of traffic.
He's got agents, and if the team has not given him 100% that they're in on him, he might have just decided he needed to sit out.
Look, fair enough. But
I mean, Vela's not known for his personality. Honestly, the fans kind of know he's transactional, and all I care about is if he's going to perform and renew. At the end of the day, like whether he's addressing us or not is like it sucks, but that's really just his personality. The Mexican fans know this. The fans of the Mexican national team, the way he doesn't play for the national team, and how there's grudges there. So yeah, that's unfortunately his behavior and his characteristics that people don't seem to like.
Yeah, and look, we'll see because we'll see what happens. Because look,
I think you're
Chicho's looking
muted.
amazing.
Or
am I muted or can you guys hear me?
No.
Can you? I think we're good. Edge is muted. But no, look, I think to me, look, look, I understand LAFC is a new club, but you still gotta do things like this. You gotta do things like that. Even look, they could have helped Vela or whatever was going on, but I think to me this should have been addressed earlier. Not doing an IG live, not nothing like that, but from Vela's part, it could have been addressed.
We're gonna find some stuff out, and I really believe there's been some harsh negotiations behind closed doors, and the result may be a lower salary for a guy that we keep grilling on the $6 million, right? If he comes out of that game, maybe in a $4 million range.
I don't think he's taking less money. He ain't taking less money to come back.
Why not? I mean, the guy plays 30% of the games, and then he gets paid 30% of the money.
Nah,
because you know what? Here's the thing.
He don't take less money.
There's nowhere for him to go. Do you have one rumor?
I don't know. I don't believe that. That's so hard for me to believe.
There's no $6 million offers there. Is the Galaxy going to pay $6 million?
Do you know that to be true? Let's talk in facts.
I don't know anything
exactly.
To be true,
okay, let's end it there because
when things want to come out, they come out. And
I know, but
I mean, I heard Real Betis wanted him.
Yes,
and,
look, there's interest there, but look,
right. So
he's not going to take less money.
Is who? Who's
that's a crazy thing. That's a crazy thing to say, Celso. That a man's going to take less money when he's the best player in this league.
Chivas is the number one contestant. He's not going.
He's not going to the Liga MX. He's not going.
Right.
Because hold on. Celso, chill. You're going down a path that is taking us to down a hole. But like, it just to me, look. Let me tell you why it doesn't make sense. He's the best player in this league when healthy. The best player in the league is not going to take less money. He may stay at that salary, but he ain't going to take $4 million. Come on now. Whether the fans are upset about it,
6.4 based on
whether the fans are upset, he's not going to take less money, dude. When there's other options,
and neither is Chicago or any other team.
Yeah. But look, he's not going to take less. I don't see that being a thing. He's going to take less. We should pay him less. I think the salary will stay the same.
I think that Vela believes a lot in himself and his capabilities. And if you tell him, 2020 season, 2021 season performance, he's just going to be like, COVID, whatever. I'm still the best player in the league.
Look, he got injured, but even with his injury next season, if he's able to stay healthy, it's a big if, right? This is a big if. Dude's over 30, right? Big if. But he's probably like, I can still do this next season. I can still do, and they know he can still do it.
I think he believes in himself, and I think he thinks he could.
He keeps getting hurt. Like, so again, it's like
like once again, he knows he wasn't hurt. I mean, that's speculation.
He got a hamstring, a blown hamstring.
He knows he wasn't.
The worst injuries you can have as a soccer player. Again, The
Look,
guy was really hurt.
allegedly, we
He's
gotta
in a
we gotta
row,
speak.
and he's looking for his
Allegedly.
next contract. He's not gonna get $6 million again. Nobody can.
I hope not.
Look,
I don't
it's
think-
not.
cannot. And if
It's
they
not.
do,
It's
they're
not. It's not
fools.
your. The good thing, Celso, is not your money. It's
I
not your
mean,
money.
and maybe that's exactly what this whole front office fiasco is about. Maybe they feel the same way as you, and they're like, "No, you're older, your stats are lower, you're going down to 3-4 million a year." And he's just like,
Nah.
"Absolutely not. I'm the best player
I
in the
guarantee
league."
you. And now he's waiting for the
6.5.
other offers. And
Maybe he wanted 7 million. He's just like,
Look,
nobody makes that
for
mistake.
sure negotiations, but the negotiations are about. It's hard for him to negotiate to get more because of the season he had, right? But he could also be like Vela's things like, you brought me a bunch of USL players. What was I supposed to do with that? That's the counter argument, right? But look, I'm based on pure talent. Carlos Vela's worth the money if he's playing, if he's healthy. That's a big risk, right?
I
and
mean,
I think, look, and I think another thing to this whole LAFC thing is what it's look, if he's most likely going to stay, but the big transition for LAFC with these conversations, well, you want this money, you need to show love to the fans, and I think that's what Thursday is. You want to keep your $6 million, you want this money. Well, you know what LAFC needs? LAFC needs Carlos Vela to talk to the fans. LAFC needs Carlos Vela to interact and all this stuff. Because, dude, I can assure you, Carlos Vela does not care if he's getting trashed on Twitter or whatever. It doesn't. But LA, you know who does care? You know who does care? LAFC front office people, LAFC organization.
And
They
so does
care.
the league, because the whole market of this league is
not necessarily. This is more on LAFC. LAFC cares about that, their image with the fans, right? Because of 32-52. Trust me, I've been and I see how they operate. This is more
right.
of LAFC.
I know, but I just don't know if like Vela is like Tom Brady took less money, right? So like if Vela doesn't take less money,
but I know, but it's not built the same way. It doesn't matter on the salary construction. Tom Brady did it to bring in more players. Carlos Vela, it doesn't work
with USL guys.
It doesn't make
top
it
heavy.
doesn't. I know, but that comparison doesn't make sense because even if say Carlos Vela makes 10 million, it doesn't change the roster construction for LAFC. Carlos
That's
Vela
what I was going to
20 million.
So
that's what I was going to get at.
It doesn't change because
no money. We wouldn't have
if
$3 $2 million guys right there in the middle.
No, it doesn't change. So you got to see how these rosters. That money's coming straight from the owners. That doesn't affect the roster. Only 600,000 of that money, of Carlos Vela's money, goes into the roster construction.
Yeah.
So Zlatan and Chicharito, that money doesn't
infinite money for LAFC. We can have
no. It's not infinite money, but it doesn't affect the roster building. That's what I'm saying. Like
and
only 600,000.
I think investors expected a return, and when COVID hit, they didn't get their return, and they're behind the 8 ball, and now they're looking at their money and saying, "Oh, wait."
But
the burn is a little higher.
I think Vela understands the value he brings to LAFC and how much money he makes them. And he's like, $6 million, I make you way more than that. I make just in sales. No, I'm saying what he brings to LAFC, and I think a lot of that comes into play. And if they're like if you're telling him about stats, he's gonna get offended and say, "I'm still the best."
You don't come at Vela with those stats.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of stupid of the front office not to give him what he wants. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, screw it, pay him $6 million. Stop trying to save $1.5 million. It doesn't affect our roster. It doesn't affect our roster. And you guys have billionaire investors. It's like, just stop fighting over this $1.5 million. Make the man happy and make him an MVP next season. Simple as that.
Yeah, if it's literally $1 million, it's not that much. I'm not right. I'm in terms of this. In terms of sports and contracts or whatever, it's a lot of money to a normal person to me, right? But in terms of contracts and stuff like that, if they're arguing over $1 million, it's not that much. When you paid $13 million to get Brian Rodriguez onto this club, that's a lot of money, right?
I wonder if they renewed his contract earlier, what he could have given us this season being happy. I know it's a bit manipulative and it's not cool that Vela did this and what he's doing speculatively if he's unhappy about his lack of contract renewal. But let's just say that's the case. Was it worth the whole freaking season being screwed up because you wanted to save that little bit on the salary? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So again, the G-Man Galaxy here commented on what we're talking about. And again, if you think that there's an infinite amount of money that we
There's
can
not an
spend on
infinite
players,
amount of money, but it's
because
like
that's not how it works.
I know
The
I'm not
league
we're
has
not
its cap, and I get it, but
yeah, but only the 600,000 of that 6 million goes into that. The rest the owners are paying. That doesn't affect the roster. That's
dude,
what I'm
I
saying.
know, but like there's still a line in there that says payroll, and you can't go over it. Otherwise, you over budget.
But to be honest,
projections.
but to
We
be
gotta-
honest, I do recall.
Because everybody goes down, and you can't
I
bring
get that.
good players to replace
But-
your middle of the crop. Like,
But
come on,
but
man,
I do
Chris
recall.
Paul
I
makes
do
80K.
recall throwing.
Look at the
I do-
number of 80 guys making 80K in our roster. Compare it with the Galaxy. Compare it with the New England Revolution.
Yeah, but Galaxy
It
is the
doesn't
most. The
make any
Galaxy
sense.
spends the most
Duke
money.
makes $90,000. He's gonna start for us tomorrow.
Yeah, but
with
that
the
doesn't
$6
that
million
doesn't compare
man.
to Carlos Vela type of talent. That's not the same thing. Galaxy spends is
Carlos
the number
Vela
one
is
thing.
not worth $6 million, Gio. I could sit here with you for another hour arguing that.
I
not
agree.
worth $6 million.
I like your take on that. And that's why I have
And
you
this is
on.
why we're suffering, because Chrysostomo makes another 80K, and that's all we can afford.
No, it's
not
not
an
that.
infinite wallet.
It's not
You
what
know
you
what I
can
mean?
afford.
It's not. It's not. Hey,
It's who
Will,
you bring in.
can you bring us another player, because we one guy's down, and Will, like, I know you have as much money as we can. It's not like that, man. It's a budget line. And
Yeah, look, I understand. I get what you're saying. There's a budget. There's a budget within teams, but you're also talking
They got
about the best
Edwards
player.
stuff.
You're talking about the best player in this league. You're not talking about
What is the best about him? A one season that he had Golden Boot. Like,
fair enough to your point. Look, this is your team. This is Carlos Vela, right? You're upset that he hasn't showed up, rightfully so. You should be as passionate as you are, but I think the other side you're missing too is like these negotiations. LAFC want him to stay, right? Carlos Vela knows this. Carlos Vela took a risk to come to LAFC. Took a risk.
What kind of
to come
risk?
to LAFC. Dude, he was coming. He was coming to play where he came. What was it? La Liga, to be
Real
the first
Sociedad.
guy in a first intramural.
yeah, no,
not
you're
intramural.
right. Back then, it was still a risk because
There's
we
a
were a new
risk, right?
club.
So
You know,
now
I thought in terms of the league,
tables
it
have
was not such a
somewhat
risk.
turned.
You're
That's what
right.
I'm saying. The tables have somewhat turned. Now LFC need to take a risk on Vela, right? Because look, yeah, you're not as consistent. You're injury prone. That's the risk that LFC is taking. But to me, if LFC wants Carlos Vela, I don't think you pay him more than what you're paying him now. But if you want him to stay, you pay him what you're paying him.
I mean, a
And
great example is Altidore, right? Like, he's not even that performing that great anymore, and he's one of the highest paid. And Toronto, year after
terrible.
year, yeah, and year after year, they're giving him the money because of what he brings to the team, and they were taking a risk. And I agree with Gio in that regard. I think
Look where
LAFC,
they are, man.
I think LAFC needed to take that small risk and go with Vela and renew his contract as soon as possible at $6 million, what he wanted. And I
Yeah,
think
I
we'd
don't-
be
I
in a
don't-
much better spot
Oh my
than
God.
than we are now.
We'll see. Look, we'll
Like,
see.
look
But
at
we're
Toronto
gonna
with
find out. We're gonna
Pozuelo.
find out.
Pozuelo went down, and they can't do anything. Altidore is terrible. He barely gets in the field.
No, I'm
I
not
mean,
saying.
you
I
know
think they're
that
done
no,
for
no.
doing it now.
The
But I
Toronto's
mean,
motto is what got them in that trouble.
I know. I'm not
And they
saying that's
actually
what I
had the
want.
same exact issues as us.
He said,
I want to ship Bob Bradley there
No,
and
no,
then
no.
make them fix that thing. Go with Vela too, man. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no.
But
All
look,
I'm
we're
getting
gonna
at is
look-
that they need to take a
Celso,
risk. At
one
least
thing you're
one
gonna-
risk.
Celso, you're
They
gonna
need to
learn
take
a
one
lot.
risk.
You're gonna learn a lot about LAFC after this. You're gonna trust
well,
me.
this is why I'm being so vocal. You know what I mean? Because I want the opposite to happen. And if I believe if we scream loud enough, and
It's
if
already
we make the
happened.
same
I'm sorry.
mistake
I'm
over
sorry
and
to
over
tell
again,
you.
we will.
It's already
we'll
happened.
resolve it.
It's already happened. If this man is speaking on Thursday,
But if we get him for
It's
another
time.
year, I'll take it. It's a mulligan season. He's missed so many games. You know, farewell tour. Yay. Kobe Bryant to the Lakers. Remember?
Farewell. I
Kobe
don't
was
think it's a
amazing, but
farewell
that last
tour.
season was horrible.
there's no
okay?
farewell. It's not a farewell tour.
It was farewell to Kobe Bryant.
It's
Like,
probably,
man,
it's probably
the Lakers
it's
were
a year.
22
It's
and
probably like a year with the
67.
team option or whatever. But look, let me get to Katie because she brings up a great point. She's like, we need to focus on building a better team with more seasoned players. And down the field, I don't believe Vela is our savior anymore. We need a balanced team, not a USL team or two or three hotshots. I completely agree. I think the USL players definitely did not help. I don't know what the reason behind that was, and I understand you had that pipeline with the Las Vegas Lights and stuff, but
Yeah, I agree.
That has not been a successful.
We need a well-rounded team, right? Like, you know, Rui Diaz is out of Seattle, and Jordan Morris, and yet they're still so freaking dominant, right? And right now, LAFC lose Vela, and we went utterly downhill immediately.
Yeah.
Then we lost Rossi. We keep going down. Then we lost Atuesta. Of course, this happens to any team that loses its DPs, but LAFC specifically is in a worse position when they lose Vela or one of their DPs. And I think we need to create a more well-rounded team rather than a ton of youth, a ton of USL players. And if we're like Vela's not here, we're fucked. Or
you can't be Vela dependent. You just can't. No team can. And I think that was the biggest thing with LAFC. Look at Galaxy, right? Even Chicharito was gone for 10 games. 10 games, just as many as Carlos Vela.
Immediately bought the one kid that had the big game against us.
Exactly.
He had a massive game, and that's all he did. Now he's in the bench, role player.
Exactly, but LAFC didn't do that when they were losing. They didn't replace these type of players. They replaced them with USL players. That's the difference,
right? But we had to get rid of again. To your point, if it's infinite money, right? We had to do all these roster movements.
They didn't. No, I don't think.
Get rid of Mark Anthony Gay and Baird. In order to bring Christian Arango, because we knew he was a better striker, right? Because we couldn't score more than one goal in any game.
Well, that GAM that we got for those players did not really go towards Arango. That's GAM is used for the MLS players that we bring in, and to not really replace them was
they didn't replace them. That's the thing. They didn't.
What are we paying for, right? We're just selling.
That's a front office. That's a front office.
We're riddled with John Thornton problems. This is John Thornton problems. We're riddled with them.
You guys are talking about. I'm talking about operating cash. You're giving a sum of cash. You're expecting inflows. The loser's losing a lot of money. The league is losing a lot of money, and the guy's operating in the red.
Look. Let me be clear. This is
what you're talking about, which is MLS.
Let me be clear. Let me help out this conversation. The way MLS teams make money, and LAFC is making a lot of money. They're making money. I should have said a lot. They're not losing money. Let me put it this way.
They've lost with COVID. I mean, the whole league lost COVID money.
Okay, let's talk about this season. We don't need to talk about COVID.
60% of the games were empty, right?
LAFC, the way LAFC makes money is ticket sales. 90%, I forgot, of the money is made is ticket sales. I think it's what's sold in the stadium. You go to every game, right, Celso? The bank account, we can compare it to the Galaxy, right? I go to both games. Bank account for the most part has been packed. For the most part.
No, I mean it's always
they're not necessarily. They're making money off of where they're making money off.
The beer and merch alone, too.
The beer, merch, the ticket sales is 90% or where the MLS makes their money. As a league, it's different, but as a LAFC is making money this year. They're
a lot of money. They're still making a lot of money.
They're not losing money because Carlos Vela is not playing or whatever. The games are being sold, right? To me, it's right now. You need your superstar to come out and talk about all these different things, right? The machine is well run by the people at LAFC with the 3252. They did an amazing job. What they do with the 3252, getting people in the games, building the community, all that stuff is great. That machine is amazing. The machine on the field and producing these type of players, that's been questionable this year. When you're replacing players with USL players. Those are two different machines, right? This machine, bringing fans to 3252, if they do what they need to do, like a plant they water, they do what they do with the fans, that checks out. With the team and bringing in USL players and all that stuff, questionable and all these different things, that's what's been questionable. That's what's been hurting LAFC.
And Lo Celso, I think what you consider a budget thing. Of course, budget restrictions. They exist, of course they exist. But I think what's really the problem is here more than the budget is that John Thornton's pathos of buying young and shipping them to Europe, and I think that he went full.
It just didn't work this year.
Full on that. It bit us in the ass.
But he brought Ibeaga, right? He's trying to revert it. Like he brought Ibeaga.
He's trying, but he's
for this season. It's too late.
He was old,
Yeah, he's trying, but he's not good at it.
I don't like the youth argument. I think we ended up with and that's a fact. We have the youngest roster in MLS. And playing, and that it's playing actually now. And guys like Mamadou at 18.
Mm-hmm.
But
look, Mamadou, Fall, Opoku. There's been a lot of great. Look, there's been a lot of great young talents, but that's not winning you an MLS Cup, and
No.
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean when the type of players that they could have brought and they didn't bring. To your point, how we talked about the goalie, they could have brought a center back instead of Blackman, right? They could have those decisions are what hurt LAFC this year, in my
And
opinion.
yeah, and I think Thornton uses the COVID as a crutch. He's just like, oh, I didn't do good. Yeah, COVID. Budgets. Yeah, let's do that.
Right.
Let's work. Yeah, that's the problem here. And it's like, no, every team had these problems. LAFC makes a lot more money than all these other than Colorado. Look at how amazing Colorado's doing.
Someone
Look
tell
how
me
amazing
why
how
we have so
Colorado's
many
doing.
$80,000 guys in our roster. Then what is the reason? We're stingy.
Because he wants to be the youth creator. He wants
Yeah,
to
you can.
be. He wants to develop these stars, and it's like this pathos
It's hard.
that got to
Look,
his-
I don't know
the New
I don't
England
know the thought
Revolution has like
process.
6 guys over $1 million. We have 2, right? And 2 of the, and then it's Pancho Ginella. It's $500,000.
Yeah, that all falls on the front office. Look, that all falls on the front office. I'm just saying, this year they didn't get it right, and it drastically.
2020 they didn't do
I mean,
it
the
right.
big move
We
was
got
Moon
Bears.
One
It was
and
just
Corey
not-
Baird. Look where we are with them.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we 2020 and 2021 they didn't do it right. So I'm over Thornton. I'm over him. Bob Bradley could only do
If
so
we
much
won the
with.
CCL last year, we probably would have thought a little bit different, right? Like it was one game, all of a sudden you win the CCL, and you kind of think yourselves, okay, this was a successful year. Vela played too, so I don't fault 2020 because it was a messed up year, and at the end of the day, we actually did a deep run in a very, very tough challenge, tough tournament. The Leon
No, I mean
game,
they finished the year. Look, they finished the year off strong.
They finished the
to
year strong,
to
looking
the
like number
USL.
1, man. You know what I mean? So all I hope for, I know we're going way over. All I hope for is that we have a 3-game, streak here. I'll take it if we get out of it with 7 points out of 9 and barely makes the playoff or miss the playoff by a point. I think it would be a good season because at the end of the day, we tried, and
I don't know about
even though
that.
it sucked, we're going to recognize our errors. Listen to me. This is why it's important. Making the playoffs is just a luxury at this point. You don't want to go play, SKC at SKC and get your ass kicked and call it a season that it was better. Just let it be. You know what I mean? Like you did what you could. It was too little, too late.
I think I feel like I think at this point, like I think we know what LAFC is, right, as a team, right? The expectations are high was to win MLS Cup, and I to start of the season, I was like, they have a shot, right? They really have a shot, right? To see it, they had the limited turnover, just a couple pieces here and there. They had a shot, but unfortunately, when things started to unfold and different things, I really felt like just only bringing Corey Baird was not enough because to me, how I compare LAFC and the Galaxy, I compare them to the Sounders. I compare them to how they roster build, right? And that's when I saw the roster build of LAFC compared to the Sounders. I was like, how are they going to beat this team with this kind of roster? What additions, right? And it's not there yet, right? This offseason, you need, I think, to me, the biggest thing, and I don't want to give up on LAFC.
And I also want
to
to bring this up too, is that I blame the fans too. I blame the fans because it's the same problem that the Mexican national team has, where one player's pretty good, let's just say really good, and they make him like the biggest European star to be. And it's like, no, let's calm down, okay? Mark Anthony K at that time was built to be like the new European star and, blessing the same thing. And it didn't work out. And I saw that. I was like, these guys are good, but I don't think they're MLS Cup good. And I think that's what's happening is that like the front office was good with that. They saw the fans love these players and they thought they were going to be the best midfield in MLS. And they kind of were at one point in 2019, but I don't think that was sustainable. And I don't think they had that level of experience and caliber to really bring us the cup. And I think that's what, once again, Thornton got wrong. And I think that he loved that he signed a Tuesta and Rossi and that it was working out for him.
I mean, look, that was big.
Yeah,
that was big.
But I still don't think we ever had the best team. I mean, 2019 once again is always the exception to this.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't able to perform, and we didn't win the MLS Cup. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, of course. But
Yeah, at the
Yeah,
bank. Yeah.
and I still don't think we've had the best team, and we still don't. We're far from it
Well, we
now.
definitely don't have the best team right now. Too many
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're far from that now. Of
Raheem
course.
Edwards, improvise forward that plays back from, you know what I mean? It's just too many improvisations, too many projects, too many third guys that came in the middle of the season, like a Chrysostomo that didn't really understand the system. Again, I love the fact that these guys are coming in right off the bat, getting experience. They're going to be, contributors in this roster. They are the next generation of role players for Los Angeles, right? But now we need to come up with the big boys that are really going to make the plays, the last pass, the Carlos Gil kind of pass that gets someone open. Hopefully it is Vela. I think he can evolve into that last passer kind of person that you talked about a little bit earlier, Edge, because, we saw a little bit of that earlier between him and Moon One, finding people open in space. He draws a lot of attention, so it could be the solution for him that, now that he doesn't have that kind of pace. Set the other two players up, put Rodriguez opposite to him, and now Arango in the middle is kind of a dominant presence. So again, maybe Rossi was the odd man out. Maybe that's all we needed. Like Rossi goes out, and now we can solidify our team from the back forward, right? Because we have the top three. And again, everyone, including MLS, wants to see Vela, Rodriguez, and Arango play together. It's an exciting.
I think
we want to sign up for that.
I think Vela will be the perfect for the 4-2-3-1. To be honest, the number 10 and the 3 right up there behind Arango. I think that's the spot, and I think we need two defensive midfielders.
Which I've been not a big fan.
But Bob never does 4-2-3-1.
Well, look, let's just so I can wrap, so we can wrap a bow on it. We went way over, but look, I think this was a great conversation to have. Celso, I love that you're passionate. I love that you have your point, and like I said, man, we're not gonna cancel you here. We're not gonna cancel
no
you
cancel culture here.
No cancel culture here. Look, you can be honest.
I love it.
But look, the one thing I hope to everybody that's watching this and to the people that are going to be tuning in and listening to this on the second half of LAFC, we can keep it honest. Look, I don't work for LAFC. I don't work for LA Galaxy. I have no ties to them. I keep it honest. These are my views and what I see. Those are Celso's views. Those are Edge's views, right? At times we may agree, we may disagree, but I hope that out of listening and watching this, you were able to at least learn a little bit about something, about how things are operating and stuff like that. Because look, MLS is a very tricky league to learn and stuff like that. But now, 4 years in, I feel more comfortable now. I know what like TAM, GAM, DP, right? These are all like foreign languages to me, and maybe to some people, and that's why they tune in, right? But I think some of these conversations are good to help people understand more about LAFC, more about the team and stuff. And and then like I said and that's why I created this platform, to have these conversations, because I felt that at times, right, that I don't know. This is who I am. I'm just gonna keep it honest. And I know some teams don't like it because you're too honest or this and that. But it's like, look, this is why people tune in. You know what I'm saying?
I think people want to know if you're truly neutral, Gio. You should talk about that. Are you truly neutral?
No. To be honest, to be honest, by LAFC, from LAFC fans that don't know me, I'm a Galaxy fan. For Galaxy fans that don't know me, I'm an LAFC fan. But I started watching the MLS when Zlatan and Carlos Vela came to the league, because I was covering the NBA. I was covering obviously the Dodgers and stuff like that. I never watched the MLS. I lived half of my life in Phoenix, so I never watched the MLS growing up, because when I lived in Phoenix, there was no MLS team. I knew about the Galaxy. I knew about David Beckham. By the time I wasn't living here, I was born out here, but I wasn't living here at the time. So when Zlatan and Carlos Vela came, I was like, oh shit, let me Zlatan and Carlos Vela, hell yeah, let me tune in, let me see what's up. And that's how I started falling in love with MLS. Obviously I saw what LAFC was doing. I was like, damn, they actually have like a soccer culture. Started seeing that. Then obviously El Tráfico was born, and that's when it hooked me. I was like, okay, I can definitely watch this. I can definitely do that. But I mean, I'm not here to to please everybody. I understand. I'm gonna rub people the wrong way because I say, amazing. Like, well, with the conversation right now, some LAFC fans may or may not want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But it's totally fine. We're keeping it honest, and that's what this podcast is meant to be. But yeah, I try to do my best. Look, I know not everybody's gonna agree with my views or my takes on Twitter, and some people may take it personal when I talk about LAFC, but it's not. It's not talking about LAFC. This is sports, man. I could say the Lakers ain't doing good. The Lakers start 0-2, but no one in the Lakers take it personal. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, man. We're grown, and we're gonna have these conversations, and we keep it honest. And like I said, I love that. I love that Celso is passionate and doing like that. I love that Edge is here. Because like we all three haven't met each other yet. Edge, we haven't met you. Celso definitely met you.
Yeah,
but
I haven't met you. Well, I met you.
yeah. No, you haven't.
Oh,
met,
like at the same time. Yeah, you're right.
yeah. But yeah, no. I mean that's just to put a bone. And my goal is just try to connect us more a little bit and see if we can each other educate each other.
We're very fortunate to have two soccer cultures in this city. They're very different teams. There's a rivalry, derby between cities. It's like we're super fortunate to have it. That's you hit it nail in the head. There's a rivalry aspect of it. There's a pride. There's a regionality of the north versus south part of town, whatever you want to call it. So all the elements of it, and the quality of the football is going up because the middle of the pack players are getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And again, LAFC is listening, and they may not do the right thing, but they listen to people like us, quasi media, you want to call it. And I'm going to continue to be loud and continue to try to be influential. But with the idea is to grow the league. Soccer in the United States. Take the best things from some of the other leagues. What works out. Understand that we're really where the NBA was in the 80s, right?
Yeah, and this is what these conversations and these podcasts are. What help it grow, even though some people take it personal. But I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like,
nothing's personal. It's sports, right? Like the only guy that should be taking
there's
personal.
There's plenty of people that take it personal. Trust me.
Yeah,
but to me, I could care less because this is where, to your point, is to grow the sport, and this is how I feel like we grow.
And it's grown a lot. I think that the biggest issue we have right now is the TV and how that gels, and it's hard to find channels. Like LAFC needs to really address that. Put the channels in the local channel. The Galaxy has the privilege of being in the Sportsnet channels.
Nah, no one watches it. So to be honest, it's very hard to watch games on Sportsnet, and they're streamed
true, because you gotta have Time Warner.
I don't have Time Warner, so I even stream some of the Galaxy games that I watch. Or
the whole thing is a mess. It's very fragmented. Yeah. As a fan, you feel lost.
Well, I think next year they're gonna have like the MLS all like how like ESPN Plus. I think next year, because Galaxy's out of their contract. I think next year is a year that everybody can have, NBA Pass or NFL Pass. Yeah, but look, let's wrap it up, guys. Celso, thank you for being on. Edge, thank you for being on. People in the chat, thank you for being on. The priest of LA. G-Man's calling me the priest. Look, also shout out to Anna. Anna's having a birthday on the 23rd. Anna Gonzalez. So
happy birthday!
Happy early birthday to you, Anna.
Happy birthday,
November 23rd.
Fellow Scorpio.
Yeah. So look, I don't even know the zodiac sign. So look, guys, I appreciate you guys being on. Everybody who tuned in. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube. Definitely trying to grow the YouTube channel. So for Celso, for Edge, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.